Shalom everyone. Welcome each and every one of us to today's talk. Welcome, especially those joining us online, those following with us via Facebook, those following with us via YouTube. Welcome each and every one of us. HaShem, we are continuing our series of Pesach, Passover. We are in the season of Passover, Passover of the Lord, Passover of HaShem. HaShem commanded that Israel, nation of children of Israel, shall observe this particular moment forever and ever at its appointed time. It is this period that HaShem brought children of Israel from the hands of the Egyptians. And he commanded that all seed of Israel, all the nation of Israel, all the descendants of children of Israel shall commemorate this particular event. So always remember it and observe it and know that HaShem is God. And beside HaShem there is no other God. There is no thing that anyone can tell you that will make you deviate from that which HaShem has commanded Israel. So therefore we are continuing on this series, Passover. And today we will be looking at the requirement of Pesach, requirement of Passover. Everything that's required of this Passover is written in the Torah. It's written through the mouth or through Moshe Rabbeinu. HaShem commanded Moshe Rabbeinu, and everything is recorded, everything is enlisted in order that we may have a successful Passover, that we may commemorate this holy convocation at its appointed time. So therefore we will be looking at those verses, those things which are required of this to have a successful Passover, a spirit-minded Passover, a Passover that will impart in our lives spiritually and physically, so that we will be able to serve our God even the way He has commanded us to serve Him. So therefore we will be looking at Exodus 12. Exodus 12 from verse 17. From verse 17 is recorded, and ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this self day, for in this self-same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations, that ye shall observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. This is the commandment of HaShem. You shall observe it all throughout your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at eve, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 120th day of the month at evening. 7 days ye shall eat. 7 days shall there be no living found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is living, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation or from the community of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing living in all your habitation. Shall ye eat uneven bread. This is the words of HaShem. Hashem has commanded that we shall eat. And in these verses, we see that there are things required of this Passover. One, I group it as material requirement and spiritual requirement. This requirement can be grouped into two. Material requirement for having a successful Passover, or according to HaShem has commanded, you must provide yourself with the materials needed. And what are the materials needed for the Passover? You shall have unleavened bread, matzah, called it in Hebrew, matzah, unleavened bread. Secondly, you have a bitter herb, and thirdly, which is supposed to be the first, but for the fact that in our generation that is not required, a lamb, which we are to sacrifice to HaShem, just as it says in Deuteronomy 16. In Deuteronomy 16, it says, "And thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and of the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there." So there is a requirement in order for you to carry out the sacrifice of the lamb, of killing of the Passover lamb. There must be a place. Hashem has to choose the place where he will put his name there. So, according to this context, the place which Hashem has chosen to put his name there is at the Holy Temple. The Holy Temple in Yerushalayim, the Holy Temple in the land of Israel. And for the fact that Hashem, by his own way, by his way, the temple is no more there. The temple is no more there. So therefore, it is not permitted that we shall kill the Passover lamb any other place except the temple, the holy temple. That is the only place Hashem commanded that the Passover lamb should be killed. So therefore, to us in this generation, as Hashem has taken over the Mishkan, has taken up the roof or his temple, his holy altar, the altar where sacrifice are performed, he has taken it up to Gan Eden. He will bring it back when the Moshiach shall come, when the Messiah of Israel shall come. Hashem will bring all those things back, and there will be the holy temple again. The third temple will be built. So therefore, according to our generation, the Passover lamb is not required for doing against the will of Hashem becomes a sin to us. So therefore, we will encourage our brethren not to do that which is not the will of Hashem. For Hashem has a will, and all of them is written in his Torah. Therefore, the one that is required of us, the main one that is required of us, we should carry them out, and before we should have that, it's commanded that we shall put away every living materials which contain yeast. Any food that you consume during normal days that contain yeast, you will desist from it. You will not partake in such things that contain yeast. For Hashem, your God, commanded that you shall eat unleavened bread 7 days in order to commemorate this feast in which Hashem brought your ancestors out of the land of suffering, out of the land of idol worship, out of the hands of their slave masters, out of the hands of their oppressors, out of the hands of Satan, affliction, and all that. So therefore HaShem commanded that you eat this bread of affliction in order to remind each and every one of us that HaShem delivered our fathers when they were suffering in the land of Egypt, when they were enslaved by foreign nations, when they are in the hands of strangers that determine their life, that impose upon them their own way, not the way of children of Israel, not according to their own children of Israel way, but according to the nation that impose upon them forced labor and all that. So therefore it's for us to have these materials provided for us, just as is written in Exodus 12:15 says, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. You shall put away leaven out of your houses, meaning that you shall put away. On the first day of the Passover, this year's Passover starts on Friday, during the morning hour, between the morning to after afternoon. By then you put away all manner of things that contain yeast, all manner of things that contain leaven in your bread, in your house, containing normal bread that you eat in normal days. You shall not be able to eat, for HaShem has not commanded you to eat those things. That you shall put away everything, just sweep your house, clean your house. Make sure there is no atom of it. Make sure there is nothing, even the ones that rats can carry on, probably in hidden places. Make sure that you try your best to sweep your home, so that there will be no atom, or there will be no sin habit in your dwelling. There is no atom of living material in your house, in order for you to fulfill this commandment, an important commandment from HaShem, that you shall not have hermit in your house during even the first day of the Passover. So in this time that you have cleaned your home, then you bring the matzah, that's unleavened bread, and on this unleavened bread you shall not eat of it. You shall be eaten in the evening. In the evening time, when it is time for you to partake of it, and you shall eat it. You cannot eat it when, well, it says in the 14th day. You cannot eat matzah from 13 or from 12. No. Rather, you eat it at the evening of 14th of month of Nisan. In Hebrew calendar, the month of Nisan shall you begin to eat the matzah, the uneven bread. So all things have HaShem recorded in His Torah, that we might follow the order. We might follow the order of partaking of this feast. For any mistake in which one, out of ignorance or out of anything, you have ruined your Passover. Therefore, we think it is being done with extra carefulness. It's being done when you follow the Torah of HaShem, when you study the Torah and know the Torah, so that you will perform the mitzvah, the you frame the commandment of Hashem accordingly, for one mistake will probably lose the whole feast. So therefore, we are to be careful with whatever we do and do it accordingly as it has been written. In Exodus 12 from verse 8, it says, Ye shall eat of the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and uneven bread, and with bitter herb. They shall eat it. They shall eat it. Just as we have said, there is no lamb, there is no meat from the lamb or the Passover lamb. There is no meat because it is not required of us according to what we read in Deuteronomy 16 from verse 2. For Hashem said, You shall eat it in the place that I will put my name. Where is the place? The only place Hashem put his name is in the holy temple. In the holy temple is where Hashem chose that he put his name there. So it's only that is permitted. Passover lamb should be killed. Aside that place, there is no other place. And the temple, the holy temple is not there. And the priest that's supposed to supervise these killings are not there. Therefore, we are not permitted to engage in such thing. Therefore, we shall provide unto ourselves with maxa and bitter herb. And bitter herb to us can use utazi, or you can use bitter leaf or something like that. You can use such thing in order for you to have the taste of bitter leaf, in order to perform the commandment of Hashem, in order for you to know the bitterness of worshiping idols, the bitterness of when the nation of Israel were under the afflictions of the enemies, when our ancestors served other gods. Then we will learn, we in this generation will learn that we are not expected to serve other gods. We are not expected to serve other gods, whatever name that is being named, except the God of your fathers, except the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Only him shall you serve. Only his commandments shall you observe carefully and to keep it, including the positive commandment, including the negative commandment. All of them, when you say, thou shalt not eat living bread 7 days at its appointed season, at its appointed time, the Passover period, whereby Israel came out of the land of Egypt. Said, you shall observe to do it throughout your generation, forever and ever. There is no exception. At that point in time, you shall know that Hashem is God Almighty, forever and ever. There will not be any name or any God can replace Hashem. There will be no God that will replace Hashem. There is no name can replace Hashem. Hashem is God Almighty forever and ever. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob forever and ever. There is no replacement, and there is nothing that can replace the commandment that Hashem has given, that you shall observe to keep throughout your generation forever and ever. Therefore, we shall prepare ourselves with these materials in order for us to have a successful Passover full of experiences and encounter with Hashem. When you observe the commandment of Hashem, you lift your soul up. You connect your soul to Hashem. You connect yourself to Hashem. You feel the impact of being obedient to the commandment of Hashem. When you do all these things, Then go to your spiritual side of your life, your spiritual aspect of your life, which you ought to be prepared in partaking of this Passover. Therefore, we are going to the spiritual requirement of this Passover, and this has to be your attitude towards the Passover, your attitude towards this season, your readiness to do the will of HaShem, your enthusiasm in order to do the will of HaShem, your happiness, your joy in doing the will of HaShem, in serving HaShem, in loving HaShem, in all that. Your attitude towards the commandment of HaShem lifts up your spirit. The spiritual aspect of your life will be energized, will be filled with joy in doing the will of your Father who is in heaven. Therefore, the spiritual requirement of this Passover is very important, very, very important. When you shall perform the material aspect of it without it impacting your life spiritually, that means you have done just the half. You have done the half. When you do it without enthusiasm, when you do it without joy, when you do it without preparing your mood, then how would you connect yourself to HaShem? How do you connect yourself to the love of HaShem when you do not have that impact in you, that you are serving your Father, you are serving your God, that you are serving the God of your fathers, who says that you shall keep this all throughout your generation. So therefore, be ready, physically and spiritually, in approaching this season of Passover. Number two, we are to love HaShem and serve Him. Our spiritual requirement, loving HaShem, is one of the spiritual aspects of all things. Loving HaShem is 90% spiritual. 10% might be just physical thing. Your emotion, your readiness at any point in time to serve God, at any given opportunity that you have, whether one sees you or not, you do that the will of God. You do the will of God. You do it with the passion that this is my Father, which is in heaven, who sees me always, that I am doing this because I love Him. As I say, you shall love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. All these things shall you put in mind when you are approaching the Passover. When we are approaching the Passover, and again, it is a commandment to be observed. It is a commandment to be observed. Keeping Passover is a commandment of HaShem to be observed, and it carries great reward. It carries great reward, just as it says, when children of Israel, when any seed of children of Israel shall not partake of this, he said it shall be cut off from among his people. It shall be cut off from the nation of Israel. It says in Exodus 12, verse 15, 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven. Shall put away yeast, you shall put away bread that contains yeast out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leaven, whosoever Whosoever eateth just normal bread that contains yeast, whosoever eateth that from the first day until the seventh day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. That soul shall be cut. This is a commandment of HaShem. HaShem said, you shall not eat living bread from the first day to the seventh day. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. And he said, any seed of Israel that shall eat living bread in that 7 days, that soul shall be cut off from among Israel. That soul shall be cut off among the inheritance of HaShem, the reward of HaShem, because HaShem is going to reward Israel in this life and even in the next life. For the reward of Israel is different from the nations of the world, from the Goyim, from the Gentiles. Their inheritance is different, for they will inherit the land forever and ever, the land that flows with milk and honey forever and ever. Regardless of whatever you see today, that it's been dragged by some group of people or other nations that are dragging the land with the children of Israel at the moment. Forget that. When Moshe shall come, everything shall put in order. The HaShem shall drive away the nation in which there are causing problems in Israel, the land of Israel, causing problem and doing order, terrorizing the children of Israel, the Jewish people, and killing, stabbing them to death and all that. HaShem will put them off, and children of Israel will inherit that land. Jews all over the world, wherever they are, HaShem will gather them. The righteous ones shall inherit that land. How shall you inherit that land? By keeping the Passover of HaShem, by keeping all the things that HaShem has commanded. He said, you shall eat uneaten bread 7 days. Then when you shall eat living bread, then you shall be cut off. Then the land will not be for you. You shall be cut off from among Israel and from the inheritance of children of the Most High. For therefore is for us to be ready to be obedient to the commandment of HaShem. And the next one is you must be aware of the reason of the season. You must be aware of the reason of the season. The season of Passover is when HaShem, with his mighty hand, with his mercy, remembered the oath that he took with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in delivering children of Israel from the hands of their enemies. So therefore, it's the time in which HaShem remembered Israel and delivered them from affliction, delivered them from idol worship, and prepared them to the road to the Torah. Because after when they came out from Egypt, HaShem brought them to the root of Sinai when he commanded them by the reason of his Torah, and they accepted the Torah. And that's the reason why today we are called Jewish people. So we shall be mindful of the reason of the season. The season of redemption, of this season whereby you meditate upon ourselves. What do I put to myself as my God? What are the things that I do to serve my God or not to serve my God? Have a mood whereby you ask yourself questions, necessary questions, in order to improve your service, in order to improve your avodah Hashem, your service unto God, knowing the reason of the season for Passover of Hashem. The next one is to put away every idol, everything that is Hashem hates, all the things that Hashem hated. It says, you shall not serve image. You shall not serve anything that looks like anything. All the things that Hashem has not commanded you, all the things that Hashem hates, there are things that HaShem hates. HaShem hates idol worship, worshiping anything that you can see with your eyes, anything that has shape, anything that looks like human being, anything that looks like animal, anything that looks like hill or mountain, and anything that even when you look up to the sky, you will see the host of heaven and their shape and all that. You begin to worship them, you begin to make references to them. HaShem hates that. HaShem, thy God, hates that. So therefore, put away all those filthy things, put away all those things for you to serve thy God as he has commanded, as he has commanded the nation of Israel forever and ever. This is the series in which we are to do a kind of the primary things that we are to put in order to partake of this Passover, in order to partake of this feast that shall come up this Friday, 15th of April, starts Passover of 2022. Pesach, the Jewish day of 5782, the month of Nisan. So may HaShem help each and every one of us and provide us with the materials and make us ready to partake of the Passover of the Lord in order to serve our God and to disease ourselves from all acts of idol worship. Anything that looks like idol worship, we shall run away from it. And the children of God, the children of Israel, even the Hebrew-Igbos, gather themselves, return to God, return to the Lord their God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and keep the commandment of HaShem. For that is the life of the Igbos, that is the strength, that is the success, that is the dominion, that is the greatest thing that Igbos will do, and they will be that which God wants them to be. Unlimited, great people, carrier of light, greatness and all that. When we do all this, when we carry out the will of HaShem, HaShem will liberate the nation of Igbos, will liberate Igbos, will liberate their seed, and the coming generations will see the impact of the decision that you take today in order to remove all the idol worship and return to HaShem and to keep the Passover of HaShem. HaShem be our God, and we shall be his people forever and ever. So this is the Torah which HaShem, that we may study today, that we will get ready for the coming Passover. Baruch Adonai, the Olam. Amen.